We can get to the Site Information module by clicking the Add Edit Site Information button up at the top. Once we enter this particular module, we'll see that there's a list of all the sites that are currently in our database. In the upper right corner, it tells us whether or not a filter is turned on, and it tells us how many sites we have total. Like in this case, we see there's 2,650 sites total. If we wanted to come in and filter our sites, we can click Filter Add Sites, and based on this, there's a lot of different ways that we can filter our information. For example, if we decide we want to filter by category, I can click Category. If I wanted to see the newspaper sites only, I can click Newspaper. And then up here in the upper right corner, I see I have a filter turned on, Category Newspaper, and it is showing Site 1 of 77. If I want to turn off the filter, I can click Filter Add Sites, and there's the option at the bottom, Show All. If I look in the upper right corner, I see the filter is now off, and again I have 2,650 sites showing. At the bottom of the screen, I have an option that I can navigate my different sites. I can click Next, for example, and notice here that I jump to the next site on the list. I can go to Previous, jump back. There's an option here to add a site. If I go ahead and click Add Site, it brings up the Add Site dialog box. And this is in case I'm doing my own online research and I come across that one golden site and I decide it'd be perfect to add it to the database. I can do so from here. In this case, though, I'll click Cancel. There's an option there called Edit. This allows you to edit whatever site you're on. If I click Edit, it allows me to edit the current site that I'm on if I want to make any changes to it. In this case, I'll click Cancel because I don't want to do that. In the upper right corner, there's an option to search for particular sites by name, the site name Quick Search. If I click in there, for example, type in CDP, scrolls me down the list, and now I can see I'm on the CDP classified site. If I want to go online to that site, I have an option here called Go to Site, and by clicking that, it's going to launch my internet browser. It's going to take me to the site. I can scroll down, I can see there's the different fields that I could add my site information to, or allows me to see what that particular website is all about. I can close out of my internet browser to return to the program. I have an option here to edit my site category list. If I go ahead and click that, this will allow me to add to my site category list. If I find a particular category that's not on the list and that I feel is best for me, I can go ahead and add it here. But in this case, I'll close that out. And if I decide here I wanted to, sort the sites, there's a Sort Sites button. Allows me to site by name, category, type. For example, if I want to sort by type, I click Type, and now I'm sorted by type. Up here in the upper right corner, it tells me how I'm sorted. If I decide I want to sort by name again, I can go Site Name. Click Site Name, it tells me how I'm sorted. There's an option here for search. If I click Search, these are my different options that I can quickly search. There's an option here, if I click off that, to print the site list if I wanted to print it up. And then there's the option here to search for duplicates. We can now switch over to our Classified Add module by clicking Add Edit Classifieds. When we get into this module, we'll notice in the upper right corner, just like our site information interface, there's options to see how we're sorted, filtered, and how many ads we happen to have. There's even an option to do a quick search. We also notice we have sort buttons here, a button to filter, a button to search, and a button to print our ad list. The first field we have here is the actual product we're advertising, and to the right we actually see an Edit Product Advertising List button that we can go ahead and click on, and it's going to show us the particular items that we're offering. We can close that out. Those items, if we click the drop down in our product advertising field up here, if we go ahead, we'll click off that. We can put our headline. It's going to track how many characters we have, including spaces, for our headline. The body is the main part of our ad where we have the actual characters and words that are also tracked. We then have a suggested category, and then we have a URL link, picture HTML link, and also a contact email with buttons to the right to actually test the links and to test our email. We have our contact name that we can put in, the date that this particular ad was created, any notes that will help us later on to keep track of what's going on, what's working, what's not. We have our status field. The drop down we have active, inactive. This is in case you want to put a particular ad in inactive mode for a while so it doesn't show up. In other words, we can hide it using the filtering. We can put a suggested price, and then we have a rating for our ad. If we click the drop down, then we have an option to decide whether or not our particular ad is doing well. We can select it. We have navigation buttons at the bottom that we can navigate our different ads. Also to the right, you'll notice a navigation pane that allows us to jump to the different ads by clicking whichever ad you want to jump to. It's real easy to do. Down on our navigation pane, there's also the option to add an ad, save any changes you make, cancel your changes, or delete a current ad. The computer automatically will apply an ad tracking number. This is used later on in the follow-ups to determine which follow-up is tied to which particular ad. To help you create the ads, we have a writing classified ad tips module. If we go ahead and click that, the module opens up with tips and some ideas of what you can do to create power pulling ads, and we can go ahead and close that out. There's an option here to print the tips. You can print your ad checklist, and here's the option to add ideas. By clicking that, you can add any headline ideas or body ideas that you come across, keywords, maybe phrases, things like that would you like to include in your ad. And we'll go ahead and we'll cancel that out here. Once you have your ads, you can now go over to the Post Ads interface by clicking the Post Ads button. And this is your actual main workhorse for the program. The actual screen is split into two sections. The top section has your different ad site information, plus it has information for your ads that have been posted. There's a navigation pane on the right that you can easily switch your different ad sites. The bottom half of the screen has your actual classified ads. You can switch the different classified ads by clicking on its navigation pane on the right, whichever ads you want to go ahead and bring up. Once you have that set up, the ad that you want to go ahead and post, up at the top we need to go to the particular site we want to see. We have sort ad sites button, we have a filter ad sites, search ad sites, and we can either print a summary report or we can create a chart to see what's been posted. There's a checkbox up here called post ads to the site. This is just a tracker for you, so you can easily keep track of which particular sites you want to post to, which ones interest you most. What happens now is we can also click filter ad sites, and one of the nice features we have is something called the populate feature. If we go ahead and click that, there's the option for yes. And what this will now do is going to list the different sites that have the populate feature on. This means once we go into the site posting interface, there's a button we can click that's going to populate the different ad fields for us. Not every site supports this feature. It all depends on the particular site we want to post to. And then you also notice here there's a login required field. This tells you if a particular site requires a login or not. In this case here, I'll switch sites. I can switch to the other site, and I can determine which particular site or ad, I want to go ahead and post to the site, whichever one I want to post. And then I'll go ahead and click on the launch posting interface, and what will happen is the posting interface will go ahead and launch. And what happens here now is I can go ahead and click populate ad fields, and what it does, it actually drops the information for me. There might be additional fields, depends on the site, whether you want to change, like in this case, the background color or the text color. As is, I'll leave it alone. If I scroll down, there's the option for the agreement. I can type in whatever verification numbers required. Some sites have this, some don't, depends. And then I can click on place the ad, and the ad will go ahead and be placed. What happens now is I can go ahead, I can close out of this interface, and now I have the option whether or not I want to add this particular ad to my posted ad site. If I click yes, it's going to go ahead and bring up the posted ad dialog box for me. I can add additional information like the ad number, the category, the expiration date, things like that. I can then click OK, and it actually adds it to the posted ads section for me. At any time I can go ahead and edit whichever post I'm on to get back into the dialog box and make additional changes. In the lower right, there's an option called Show Posting Steps. This basically will guide you through all the major steps to create and post your ads. If I go ahead, I click that, the Posting Steps interface opens up, and from here I can go through the different steps. There's a step completed checkbox. As I complete a step, I can check it. And if I, for example, click next, it just starts taking me to the major steps that are required. I can even print these if I wanted. I can, close that out. And close that out. The best classified ad and the best ad site are not going to do a lot for you if your leads fall through the cracks. So one of the features that we have added to our program is a module called follow-ups. If we go ahead and click on the follow-ups button, it's going to go ahead and take us to the follow-ups module. From here we can type in the different information from our leads as they come in. One of the features we have here, there's an email address that you can even email your lead from here without having to leave the program. We have a tracking info field, and what this particular option does, it takes that ad number that's generated automatically in the classified ads module, combines it with the header information to create a unique tracking option that allows you to see which particular ads are working for you. To the right we have a navigation pane that allows us to jump to our different leads. We can just click on a particular name and jump to that particular lead. We have an option called follow-up activity that allows us to add follow-up activities that are needed to stay on top of our leads. There's an option here for add. We can click add, and we can have the follow-up date, the type of follow-up we need to do. For example, if we're going to go ahead and email this individual, we can type in when the follow-up has to be taken care of. We can put the date here. We have an option for the next follow-up type after that if need be. And other information that we can track. If we click OK, it adds it for us. If we want, we can turn this into an actual task. Down below there's an option to turn selected follow-up activity to a task. By clicking that, it's going to add it to the task list for us. We can go ahead and click OK, and it goes ahead and it adds it for us. We have the option we can view all active next follow-up activities. By clicking that, we can see the different activities for the different things we need to take care of. And we can go ahead and close out of that interface. To the right we have our actual task list that's created. We have an option that we could add a task from here, edit an existing task. If we want to go in and edit it and make changes to it, we can go ahead and make changes to this task, whatever changes we want to make. We have an option that we can filter our task, or we can go ahead and print them. Up in our follow-up reports section, we have different reports that we can go ahead and generate. We can also generate a chart. This allows us to see basically what's working, what's not. We have sort options just like we have in our other modules, as well as a filter and a search feature as well. And by using this particular module, you can be sure that none of your follow-ups will ever fall through the cracks.